The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pack wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Ryan Reinhardt.
A first-time guest on the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast, we are joined by the head coach of the Wolfpack Wrestling Club, Obi Blanc. Obi, great to finally have you on the podcast. You've been badgering me all year, but this is your time to shine.
Yes, it's a great honor. You know, I had to push my way in through the door a little bit, but I'm here. It's exciting.
Now, right off the bat, explain to our listeners what the Wolfpack Wrestling Club and the Wolfpack Regional Training Center, or the RTC, what are they? Okay,
well, the Wolfpack Wrestling Club is really just an extension of our collegiate program. It just gives current athletes an opportunity to compete nationally as well as international competitions, as well as our senior level athletes, which are guys who are postgraduates, who were former PAC members and are still here in the area, alumni that train in order to try to make a world Olympic team. So really that's an extension of our program. And in the regional training center is where we train out of. It's the same room that our college guys train out of. We just have a little bit of different schedule during the season, and then during the off season, it's all regional training center workouts.
I dubbed you the coach of this. So what does that mean? What is your role with the Wolfpack Wrestling Club?
Okay. My role is obviously just guidance, writing up practice plans, doing the research in terms of, hey, this is where we want to go to train. These are the competitions we want to go to, just the same thing I would do with the college guys in a way, but just much more involved, with that, especially with my background in the freestyle circuit. So I kind of know a lot of people in that general area, and so my expertise is a little bit more into that. So I just do whatever I need to do to help those guys be productive and get to where they need to get to.
And obviously, you're also very involved with the NC State wrestling team on the collegiate level. What do you think are some of the differences in heading up the Wolfpack Wrestling Club compared to being a coach on the college level?
Okay. Yeah. So we don't compete as much with the freestyle. So there's a lot more focus on the training aspect. And these guys in particular, the senior guys, they're individuals that are grown men, so the guidance is a little different. But at the end of the day, they're still all athletes, right? So the guidance is a little bit different because these guys, they have specific goals that they want to do, that they want to achieve. And there's a little bit less guidance in the life aspect of, hey, you got to make sure you go to your class or this or that. Hey, eat this, eat that. Make sure you're doing this or that. It's a little bit of fine tuning, right? These guys are already very good wrestlers, but that next level is a little bit of fine tuning. And, that's majority of what we do. And, the shorter season where these guys are competing in about maybe 5-6 tournaments all year, it helps us, to be able to achieve that.
And obviously, the guys at the Wolfpack Wrestling Club, they are all over the world competing in tournaments and even going to training camps for weeks away from Raleigh. The big money question, how is the Wolfpack Wrestling Club funded?
The Wolfpack Wrestling Club is funded purely through donations from our sponsors in a way, or you could say alumni and just individuals that want to support what we do, that believe in our vision, whether it's collegiately or in that world Olympic level. And they want to see us be successful. So all of our funding for competition, training, gear, all of that comes from individuals who find it in their heart to donate towards our cause. And we're very grateful to be in a position where our athletes are able to compete all over the world as well as nationally. in terms of trying to make a World Olympic team. And it takes a lot of resources. It really does. And like I said, we're truly grateful that there's people helping us with that.
And I think we forgot to mention, as the freestyle season is well underway, who's currently training here with the Wolfpack Wrestling Club?
Yeah, so some of our senior athletes, we got Kevin Jack, Tommy Gant, Quentin Godley, Lee Davis, Michel Machiavelli, Timmy McCall, Michael Boykin, as well as some other individuals that trains with us on a regular basis. But these guys are full-time members that are here training. And, of course, don't forget the big one, Nick Wazowski, who just, won his second title at the Pan Am Championship. So,
Obi, I know you're a first-time guest, but you're jumping way ahead.
Oh, am I way
that
ahead?
That question about Nick's coming up, but that's cool. I mean, Pat interrupts me all the time, too.
Well, he's a member, man. Okay. So I figured I'd name off the roster a little bit of, and as well as we have Jacob Casper, who trains with us as well, who coaches at Duke, but comes and trains with us periodically, as well as other individuals that'll stop in from time to time.
That's right. You actually bring in other wrestlers from other schools, other training clubs, just to come and train in your guy. Mm-hmm. And our wrestlers, they go around the country, maybe a different school or whatnot. There's a lot of training with other programs. It's not just all NC State guys in the room at the same time. Is that correct? Yeah, definitely. It's pretty much open door policy. We've had people from all over, from different universities that come and train with us, as well as world and Olympic level guys that'll come and train with us as well. And we'll do the same with other RTCs that have that opportunity as well. So NC State has full-time members of the RTC and guys that still come back and train on a regular basis, and most have deep ties to NC State wrestling as their former student athletes. And I've asked a couple of the guys before on the podcast what life as an RTC member is, but as a coach, take us through their normal day when you guys are training here in Raleigh.
Okay. So the schedule changes a little bit depending on what's going on, what we're preparing for. But typically these guys are lifting about 3 days a week or whatnot. And so they'll do that in the morning, and then we'll come in the afternoon and we'll get our workout on the mats. A lot of time we'll start early during the week, focus on technique, and we'll go more into heavy wrestling midweek and towards the end. And for example, like heading into the U.S. Open, we train on Saturday mornings where we just come in and they warm up and throw singlet and just go matches, where those matches getting refereed and just put them in a little bit of a competition preparation. And typically that's their day. They're going to get on the mat about 4 to 5 times a week, and then they're training in between that. In between that, some guys are working, some guys are still taking classes. I mean, their lives are still going on, and they're finding time to train and get better in this sport as well.
What kind of resources is it for the current members of the NC State wrestling team to have all these former All-Americans and even national champions still around training here? How much interaction is there between the NC State wrestling team and the Wolfpack Wrestling Club down in the mat room?
Oh, there's a ton. I mean, like I said, it's an extension in a way, right? So these guys see each other on a daily basis. There's that big brother mentorship. There's a lot of it, actually. And that goes a long way, as coaches and whatnot. You have 30-something different athletes on this team on the collegiate level. And to have a guy or two that they can build relationship outside of you is really nice. Maybe it's something they don't want to talk to coach about. I don't know. And so they have these big brothers that they could reach out to, ask questions about, hey, heading into ACCs, what are you thinking about heading to nationals? Because we have guys here that have won ACCs, has won NCAA titles, so we're lucky to have that. And so having RTC and a collegiate athlete relationship is crucial. I mean, recent years, I can't think of anyone who's won an NCAA title, a team title, without having a very active RTC or successful RTC program alongside. They go hand in hand.
And the college wrestling season just wrapped up about a month ago, but everybody's transitioned right into freestyle, and the spring and summer months are very busy for wrestling. We've obviously talked about his post-NC State success both on this podcast on social media, but Nick Wazowski right now, he's number 1 in the U.S. at 125, and you've been with Nick for a while. You've seen him grow from his NC State days to where he is now. How have you seen him improve internationally since his NC State days?
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, I knew he was going to be in this position. He was going to be at this stage. And just to see him develop over the years, it's been fun to watch and be a part of that process. Anytime anyone asks me about Nick, what can you tell me about? And I'm like, he's a true professional. He's watching the videos, he's reading, he's working on his technique, outside of practice. He's doing everything that he needs to do in order to be the very best. That's always been his goal, is to be the very best. And, whatever he needs to do, he'll do it. He's big into reading right now and getting that mental preparation, that mental edge, and it overflows to our college guys. So like, hey, that mental aspect, it's a muscle. You'd work it just like you do in the weight room. So he's getting stronger in that aspect, and just watching him grow from a guy that is just trying to make the national team to a guy like, hey, that's a formality at this point. We're trying to win world and Olympic titles, and he's very zoned in on it. He's very focused, very zoned in, and like I said, he's a true professional, and it's been a fun ride, and we're still going, trying to get our way there to the top, and once we get there, we're going to try to stay there.
And we've seen you in Nick's corner at a lot of big tournaments, including when he won the bronze at each of the last 2 world championships. How does coaching work for these guys on that level? A lot of them, they have personal coaches where they train at the RTC, but USA Wrestling also has a full-time coaching staff. So how do you guys all work together?
I think the USA Wrestling staff does a very good job. Bill Zadek leading that whole program. I mean, he's been doing a phenomenal job. And so what it comes down to is a lot of communication hey, this is what the training plan is for this month or this upcoming camp. This is a little bit of that focus, and we'll work hand in hand and talk about that athlete and some of the things that the athlete needs to do to prepare himself. And then Bill will oftentimes he'll travel to certain RTCs and come in for a day or two and kind of get on the same page as the coaches and work with some things. So that's that. And then usually what will happen is these guys will make these teams, and we'll start having these big training camps where the best guys are there. And as a coach, I'll be there and work with the current USA Wrestling staff and basically just get on the same page. Once you make that team, we're all one team, and the goal for everyone is to be world Olympic champs. So that's pretty much it. Just a lot of people working on the same page.
And just this past weekend, Nick went down to Argentina with USA Wrestling and won his 2nd straight gold at the Pan Am Games. Now, Nick will not be in action at the U.S. Open this weekend in Las Vegas or even the World Team Trials, which are being hosted here in Raleigh and Reynolds. So what does the summer look like for Nick?
So basically, things are about to pick up a little bit more, really, because he still has to wait and see who his opponent will be.
For Final X, we're talking about.
Yes, for Final X. And he got there by the virtue of bringing back home a medal. They reward those guys by, hey, you're the number 1 guy, you're getting the job done, you get to sit. And so he's going to be there waiting and to see who comes out. So in that stage, we're still getting physically strong, technically focused, and being ready for whoever comes out those tournaments. It's actually... It's a hard process a little bit, where you have to sit there and not know who to get ready for and have to be mentally focused on a little bit of things that you need to do and not just focusing on all these different people. But right now that's the phase he's at. He's getting into heavy training, getting ready for Final X. And then after that, we'll kind of go down a little bit and then peak back up for the World Championships.
And even not to look too far ahead, but the Summer Olympics will be next summer in Tokyo. Take us briefly through the qualifying stages for what Nick will have to do to represent the U.S. at the Olympics. He's going to be trying to be the first NC State wrestler to go to the Olympics for wrestling. So I know it's after the World Championships and a whole year away, but what's the qualifying like next year? Is it going to be the same as this past summer?
It'll be a little similar. I'll have to kind of double check some stuff to see if there's little nuances that, oftentimes will be a little different here or there, but that same process will be the same.
And as I mentioned earlier, we're kind of talking about the U.S. Open, which is going on in Las Vegas this weekend. You guys are gearing up. 14 guys are going out there, 7 for the seniors, 7 for the juniors. The juniors are obviously current members of the Wolfpack team, but explain to our listeners how the U.S. Open works and who can qualify for the World Team Trials based upon their placement.
Yeah, so basically the tournament is just open to whoever wants to get in there and compete. And but in order to go to that next stage, which is going to be here in Raleigh, in Reynolds, is you have to place in the top 7 at the U.S. Open. And then there's other people that qualify as well, like NCAA champions, former world team members from this past team.
U23 World,
U23,
which we have too, and Sean and Hayden already qualified. So Sean and Hayden will not be in Vegas.
No, they've already qualified by virtue of being on a past U.S. World Team, and as well as there's a couple like 1 or 2 tournaments that people can win and still qualify. But on the average, you're looking at maybe 12 people in each weight class that will be competing here in Raleigh, and so basically that U.S. Open is one of the first steps. So top 7, you're in. And if you don't make it, there's one more tournament, last chance tournament to try to get in from there. And, that's the goal. Not only to go and qualify, but to go and win the tournament. Cause, certain weights, if you win it, what I'll do is I'll put you in the finals here, at Reynolds. So there's a big incentive there.
So you said U.S. Open, it's an open tournament. I've seen some assistant coaches nationally put their name in. NC State assistant coaches, Obi Blanc, Donnie Vincent, Adam Hall. Are any of you guys competing?
No. We do plenty of competitions there in the room with our guys. So, not that they're not capable. They're very capable, please believe me, of being able to go out there and compete. But I mean, we're committed to helping these guys achieve their goals. We've had our goal around and we're very committed to helping them get that level of success.
You guys are all around the same weight class. It seems like you could have a little 3-man tournament.
Yeah, it definitely would be fun. It'd be fun.
We're going to hit on a couple of guys that you see every day in the practice room that will be competing at the U.S. Open. Now, you were not here for his college career, but former NC State All-American Tommy Gant has really moved up in the rankings in the U.S. at 74 kilos. He's currently 4th, and that's just because he just bumped up about a year ago. And he's had some big results from recent tournaments the last couple of years. Talk about Tommy and the development since you've started working with him.
Yeah, no, Tommy is a very special individual. I was actually here for his red shirt in his last year.
Oh, so I was wrong.
No, just halfway.
Don't let the facts kill again.
No, you're a great host. But yeah, just to see him even back then into where he's at now. He's the kind of guy you look at him and you just see a lot of confidence. He's the kind of guy that he has a ton of confidence and his ceiling is very, very high. And every day he tries to push himself to get better and better. I think Tommy's going to do really, really well. And that's because he just believes it. He believes it. He puts in the work. And he's had great experience this past year winning the tournament out in France. Took second in Cuba to a former world runner-up. And then he wrestled at the World Cup, going up a weight, and won matches there for the U.S. World Cup team. But he's an individual that I think he's going to be in that finals. He's going to be in the finals of the U.S. Open, and I think he's going to win.
Another former Pac All-American and very recent national champion for NC State, Michel Machiavelli. He's also 4th in the U.S. rankings at his weight, which is at 92 kilos. And earlier this year, he took bronze at a tournament in Bulgaria. How have you seen Mach develop into freestyle coming off of his national title last spring from college?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a very fast climb, in my opinion.
Does he know the rules yet?
I think so. It's a big change, and for a guy that didn't wrestle a lot of freestyle, I mean, he's having a lot of success early, and you know, he's competing against the best guys in the world, and but within that last year, he's had a lot of experience, built a relationship with Kyle Snyder, world and Olympic champ, and they got really close. And Mach had the opportunity of going to World Championship as Kyle's partner when he's like, hey, will you be my training partner? Help me get ready. And so Mach was able to travel with the world team and see all the little things that go into play in trying to be the best guy. And you know, he wants to be the guy. He wants to be the best, and he believes in himself. And I'm very excited to see what he's going to do out there. You know, he would have had an opportunity to compete at the World Championship at U23. That didn't materialize, so he gets a second go around here in seniors, and he's going to make the most of it.
Going back to the U23, he won, but then it was found out that he was actually a month too old, I believe, and could not go to the U23s.
Right. It was crazy because he would turn 24 a month after the tournament, actually. But they're like, now you can't compete. It is what it is.
But in Mach's bracket in Las Vegas will be Timmy McCall, who trains full-time here in Raleigh, and he's been here the last few years. And Timmy's ranked 5th in the U.S. in the rankings. He was a collegiate wrestler at Wisconsin, but he's a North Carolina native. And
that's right. He's
a very positive influence on the current NC State wrestling program. How big of a weekend is this for him?
It's big. It's a very big weekend because I think, you know, he's made a big jump in his career from just being in a room and watching him make the physical and the mental growth. He went out there in France and finished second in that tournament, and he won that same tournament a year ago. So he's got the experience, and it's just a matter of really just turning that corner for Timmy a little bit. And I do think this is going to be a banner year for him. I told him and Mach, I was like, hey, I anticipate you guys being in the finals for this tournament. Just know, I'm just not going to coach either one of you. I'm just going to sit back and watch when you guys make the finals. But that's his expectation. You know, we got 2 hammers in the way, and they expect to be the best, and that's just the way it is sometimes. And they're lucky enough to be in a situation where they're working out with each other, iron sharpens iron kind of a situation. And when it comes down to it, tournament will decide.
Blast from the past. Kevin Jack, he's entered at 70 kilos for the U.S. Open. It's been a little while since we've seen Kevin on the wrestling mat. How has his transition been to freestyle?
It's been well. You know, his first go around was a little rough, but, because he didn't really do it much. But this time around, he's really zoned in on the little things that makes freestyle what it is. And he's understanding it a lot better than he ever has. And his results in the room has just been amazing. And I think he's a guy that's going to surprise a lot of individuals. With Kevin, he can always score points. That's his thing. He can score points from his feet. He can score points from the top position. So he's a very well-balanced athlete. And, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people, like I said. I'm excited to watch him. And I don't want to talk about it too much. Just keep it under wraps, I guess, for some level of purposes. Yeah, but he's going to be a pleasant surprise, in my opinion.
Another trio of former Wolfpack wrestlers are also entered for the senior level at the U.S. Open. We have Quentin Godley, Lee Davis, and Michael Boykin. And you guys are also taking 7 current members of the NC State wrestling team to compete in the UWW Junior Nationals. And those 7 are either sophomores or redshirt freshmen eligibility-wise next season. So right. Just very quickly, explain the difference between senior level and junior level and what is at stake for those junior guys.
Right. So, I mean, the real difference is just the age and whatnot. Some individuals can be of the junior division and wrestle up if they wish to get like a waiver and you could wrestle up there. But really, that's the biggest difference. And that junior team is very, very tough to make. It's just like the seniors. You're going to have the very best guys in the country. And you watch the past results. The same individuals that are going to medal and win the junior worlds are the same guys that are making the senior teams in winning. So basically, this is that first start for those young guys to make a world team and get the experience to go to another country and compete against other nations' best guys. So the process is the same, and these guys are very very committed. And, you know, I've had guys like, hey, I want to be a world champ. I want to be a world champ right now. I don't want to wait till I'm out of college. I want to be a world champ right now. And that's their mentality. And I think you're going to see a lot of those guys on top of the podium by the end of Saturday.
And I know Wolfpack fans will be most excited about the results of 4 freshmen that redshirted this past season. They're all going to be vying for time in the Wolfpack's lineup next year in the college season. But Jacob Camacho, Jarrett Trombley, Tyler Barnes, Trent Hidley, they all redshirted this past season. So how big is this experience for them to get them ready to compete at NC State next fall?
This is huge. This is big. This is like, in a way, going into the NCAA tournament or ACC tournament. This is the best of the best athletes you're going up against, and they got to get themselves ready for the first match, second match, that kind of situation, just like you have to do at the NCAA tournament. So, you know, not that they're not new to it by any means, but it just hits you. You know, this is real now. Okay, this guy across the mat, he wants the same thing that you want. And put you in that competitive mindset and in just getting used to it and understanding, hey, I got to be ready to go this match, next match, and this and that, and I got to be at my very best. So that's really what it's about, getting these guys prepared to be at their very best for each match and trying to win.
I was going to say, we're talking about current guys. How difficult is it wrestling in college? You're in folk style. Now they're going freestyle. Mm-hmm. There's some nuances, but there's some subtle differences. How difficult is it to go back and forth and to train different styles?
Yeah, that's the thing. Biggest thing is the mind and the timing. And making sure you're not locking your hands when you go back to folk style, right? And things of that nature. And the strategies change a little bit because you can't go out of bounds like you would in folk style. It'll cost you a point in freestyle. So the biggest thing is the timing of things and the techniques you're looking to hit, and making sure that you're focused. Like, hey, I got to stay in position a lot more than I ever have before, because a match can be over in 30 seconds in freestyle. So just being a lot sharper. I think that's really the biggest thing. You can't make as many mistakes, and yeah, like I said, being a lot sharper.
And as you mentioned earlier, everybody competing in Las Vegas at the U.S. Open this weekend has the mindset of qualifying for the World Team Trials. And the World Team Trials, they're going to take place in Raleigh in Reynolds Coliseum in mid-May. And first off about that, how big was it for NC State and Raleigh to get chosen to host this tournament?
Yeah, I think it's huge. It's a huge honor, and just to showcase Raleigh in itself. And obviously NC State, being here on campus is great. We're very proud of this institution, and to continue shine some more light on NC State in Raleigh is just something that we're just ecstatic about. And, a lot of different places, wanted this opportunity. And like I said, we're honored to be able to host this tournament and, showcase Raleigh for what it is, just beautiful place, and I think a lot of people might not want to leave once they come here.
Tickets are still available for the World Team Trials. You can see the best U.S. wrestlers right inside Reynolds Coliseum in mid-May. Just visit gopack.com/buy tickets. And Obi, I'm going to get you out of here on this. Quickly take us through the World Team Trials. How does that setup work, and what is the purpose of the tournament in regards to the U.S. World Team?
Basically, the whole process is just refinement, right? U.S. Open, World Team Trials, Final X. So this tournament here is in Reynolds is the step right before you make the World Team, basically. So you're going to wrestle through the tournament, and the 2 finalists are going to go best 2 out of 3, and then that person goes and wrestles in the Final X, and they'll go best 2 out of 3, and then, hey, whoever wins that, you're the guy representing this country. So this is huge. This is a big, big step, especially if you've never made a world team, So we're excited for a lot of our guys and anyone else that's on that same journey.
And the World Team Trials, they're a lot more than just senior level freestyle.
Yeah. We'll have all the divisions competing here. Yeah, I know this is a big, big deal. This is a really big deal. And like I said, there's people that have been training all year. This is it. This is their NCAA's equivalent for the fans that, typically just stick to folk style. This is a tournament that you want to come and see. You want to come and watch. And the same stars that you've watched in college, they're the same stars that are going to be here. So it's going to be big. It's going to be very exciting.
That excitement. I think you just sold some tickets, Obi.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, I'm fired up. I mean, I just remember myself in that whole process and how exciting it was. And, there's a little bit of honor, like, hey, I want to be the guy representing this country, and right here, there's that opportunity right here. And people get to watch you through that whole journey. This is going to be great, man. I'm fired up about it. I know our guys are fired up to go out there, take care of business, in Vegas, and then come home and do what they're going to be doing here for the next 4 years for these young guys. So, and then for those guys that, had their senior nights at Reno, this is amazing. They get another opportunity to come back home and try to make a world team here. I know that means a lot to those guys.
Obi, thanks for walking us through the process here in regards to the Wolfpack Wrestling Club and the freestyle season. It can be confusing at times. There's a lot of action going on, but good luck to you guys out in Vegas, and good luck in putting the finishing touches on hosting the World Team Trials here in Raleigh in May.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me. Thank you to our Wolfpack fans for checking in on us, and thanks for your continued support. Come out here in May. Come watch our guys try to win some titles, do what we do, make a statement.
I want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack wrestling fans, go Pack.
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MatTalkOnline.com.